Ladies and gentlemen, I am currently enrolled in high school. For those who are currently still in high school, or have graduated from high school, you know how stupid people can really be. No matter if they pass with the grade minimum of here it's a D. In Texas, I'm pretty sure it's a C. No matter how smart they are on paper, these guys act like they should be in special education. It's ridiculous. I cannot stand it when people act like complete morons, whether it's to just get laughs, because yes, being stupid is funny apparently, or two, they really think this shit. I can't believe it. Okay. I could go on a few rants on several occasions, but I'm going to talk about the shit that happened today. Oh, this pissed me off. This really pissed me off. It pissed me off more than it should have. But the fact that this person exists and think this way, I just couldn't help but come home, record myself after my initial reaction, because it really is amazing. So let's set the scene. Alright? So it's 6th period biology. No one's really caring that much. It's a work period. We don't really get those, but what we were doing is easy. We were doing like genetic crossing and stuff, like B, like B, lowercase b, and both lowercase b's. You know that stuff where you're crossing them over. That stuff is easy. So no one really cared to do that much. So people were off in conversation, and while I'm doing my work, I overhear the conversation about track. So I didn't really pay it much mind, so I kept doing my work. And then one of my wrestling teammates, he called my name. Like, Elliot, man, track isn't a sport. Like, what? What does that have to do with anything? Why'd you tell me that? That's stupid. But I'm assuming that that's what they're talking about, because they were talking about track. So, alright then. I got up, because I was actually pretty intrigued onto how this started. So I went over to where they were saying, okay, who said that track wasn't a sport? Hold on, that's just the thing. But anyhow, okay, who said that track wasn't a sport? Was it you? Nah, it couldn't have been you. Nah, not you either. But one of my track teammates said, yeah, this kid, he's saying that track isn't a sport. The guy he was talking about was one of my wrestling teammates, and his main love is baseball. This guy was one of my wrestling partners during wrestling season. But baseball is his main love. He loves baseball. He plays baseball. And he said, and no, I'm not actually joking. This wasn't no joking conversation. Because he actually said, with a straight face, with that not give a fuck face. You know that face when someone's not making direct eye contact with you, and they're doing something else, and they're saying the shit like they're right, like they're automatically right. Like, yeah, I said that. Well, what's it to you? To you, yeah. And they answer your questions like that. He had that face, folks. He actually convinced himself that track wasn't a sport. And I straight up asked him, you said track is not a sport? He said, yes, track is not a sport. Track is a sport. Fail! Failure! Failure! You actually believe that track, foot racing, probably one of the most ancient competitions on the fucking planet, is not a sport? Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? You of all people should know. No. Physical dexterity. What do most sports consist of running, jogging, running. In fact, let's look up the definition of sport right now. Let's look at it. I'm going to pause the video and come back to you when I find it. Alright, here it is. Sport is all forms of usually competitive physical activity, which through casual or organized participation aim to use, maintain, or improve physical ability and skills while providing entertainment to participants and, in some cases, spectators. Hundreds of sports exist, from those requiring only 2 participants through to those with hundreds of simultaneous participants either in teams or competing as individuals. Sport is generally recognized as activities which are based in physical athleticism or physical dexterity, with the largest major competitions, such as the Olympic Games, admitting only sports meeting this definition. Sport is generally recognized as activities which are based in physical athleticism or physical dexterity, with the largest major competitions such as the Olympic Games admitting only sports meeting this definition. Fail. So, you just heard the definition of sport, and only only sports that meet that definition get accepted to the Olympic Games. It's based on whether they qualify as a sport, and another stuff like if enough people participate in them. First of all, newsflash, buddy. One is in the Olympics, the other isn't. That's one thing, and so based off of that, I just knew this guy cannot mean on a physical level. He would have exposed himself if he meant that. So I go to another question. I just go to another question because I couldn't ask him straight up, how is running not a sport? So I simply asked him, how is track not a sport? What's wrong with track itself? Because it's a running sport. Because I know he couldn't have meant that running itself wasn't a sport. He would have, once again, he would have exposed himself. But I asked him, why is track not a sport? He told me, get this, because track is boring. Because it's boring. It's not a sport. Fail! So much fail! I'm not making this shit up. I wish I was. I thought by now, I'm sorry, I live in a perfect Aryan world where I assume that everybody knows what's what. Everybody should know that up is different from down, that gravity keeps us on the ground, that the Civil War actually happened. Yeah, I'm referencing another channel about a conspiracy theorist who actually is convinced that the Civil War did happen. People did make up ridiculous conspiracy theories about how the moon doesn't exist and how we totally don't revolve on the sun revolves around us. I live in a perfect Aryan world where people understand the basics of human logic. And in that category, I'm pretty much including everything that is and isn't a sport, at least generally. Everybody should know by now that track is a sport. It's one of the most common sports. One of the first things you think of when you think of the Summer Olympics, you think of fucking track. You think of the 100-meter dash. You think of all those. People think of fucking swimming. People think of other sports associated with the Olympics that's popular. People already know this. You should already know this. How do people already know this? But no, he is convinced that track isn't a sport. I really convinced. So, and you know what's so ironic? You know what's very ironic? The fact that he brought up that not a lot of people show up to our meets because it's boring, therefore it's not a sport. So let me get this straight. I think baseball is boring. And no, I didn't do this to poke at his favorite sport. No, I really do think that baseball is a boring sport to watch. I tried to get into it a couple of times, but it didn't work. I couldn't sit through it without dozing off. So I think baseball is boring to watch. Therefore, I could say baseball isn't a sport because I think baseball is boring, and not a lot of people show up to your baseball games. So, yeah, I can totally say that baseball isn't a sport. I could say golf isn't a sport because I think golf is less interesting than watching paint dry. And not a lot of people go to our school golf team's games. Or sets, whatever you call them. So yeah, that's that one. Anybody can say anything is a sport. That's what this is. How do people not know this by now? Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know that track is a sport, buddy, you are like hundreds of thousands of years behind on what's current. You need a reality check. Because I still don't get how you can believe this. You could argue any other sport, and I would understand. I could understand golf. I could understand, like, professional wrestling, like, sports entertainment. You know, people call it fake wrestling. That's an entirely other video that I can rant about. I could understand freaking anything that doesn't center around you running constantly. I can understand those, but track? If you don't know that track is a sport, if you don't know that track is a sport, because either you don't believe it or you just don't know, you are so detached from reality. You really are. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my video. I just need to blow off some steam because this is ridiculous. This had me angry throughout all of my track practice. Like, it made me pissed off more than it really should have, because I should have left that. This guy's an idiot from that point, but I just had to. Anyway, see you guys later. Peace. And I don't know if I'm gonna make another. I don't know if I'm gonna make another video like this in the near future, because something actually has to happen. I can't just make up shit. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.